On the news, Nigeria improves COVID-19 testing capacity as confirmed cases near 8,000. Federal government repatriates more Nigerians stranded abroad. And Burundi's ruling party wins presidential election. Hello and welcome to News Now. I am Fidelia Aguncha. We begin with the successes recorded in Nigeria's COVID-19 fight. The country's testing capacity has increased by over 400% when compared to the figure 1 month ago. Now, this is according to the Nigeria Center for Disease Control, NCDC. In its situation report for May the 23rd, 2020, the agency said a total of 44,458 samples has so far been tested for COVID-19. This is 4 times more than the 10,061 samples tested as of April 23rd, 2020. Nigeria currently has 7,839 confirmed COVID-19 cases recorded in 34 states and the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. The number of recoveries has also increased from 2,174 to 2,263. As the number of COVID-19 infections in Nigeria continues to surge daily, Lagos State, which is the epicenter of the pandemic, is now faced with a challenge of inadequate bed spaces. For this reason, the government says it is considering the home treatment option for patients with mild symptoms of the infection. However, some experts believe this option may be dangerous. Speaking to TV360's flagship program, TV360, Dr. Joseph Minari, a molecular biologist and subdean Faculty of Science at the University of Lagos, says home-based treatment may result in an escalation of cases.
I know it's going to get to a point that the isolation centers or treatment centers, as the case may be, might not be able to cope any longer with this. And that is what we are gradually getting to. Even though I still believe that for now, it's even too early for that. I think the government can still do a little bit more in having more of our treatment centers and isolation centers to be able to take care of quite a number of patients more.
Okay,
because as it stands, there's a lot of communication with the people. A lot of conspiracy theories, and if you just say that people should stay at home, I can assure you some people will not take it seriously, and it will eventually result to escalation of this pandemic in Nigeria, because they will just go about their normal businesses and they will not even let people around to know that they've been tested positive. So I think it's a dangerous trend for us that we need to look twice, even though it seems as if the government is getting to a point that they are being overwhelmed. But at the same time, we should look twice before we eventually embark on this fully.
Now to Oyo State. The total number of COVID-19 cases reported from ISON experiences has now risen to 149. This follows the confirmation of 6 more cases over the weekend. Governor Seyi Makinde, who heads the state COVID-19 task force, made a disclosure via Twitter on Monday. He indicated that 1 more case was also reported from Ibadan, Southwest Local Government Council area, bringing the total number of confirmed cases in Oyo State to 240. 5 female victims of trafficking and 50 female victims of trafficking and 19 other persons who were stranded in Lebanon have been evacuated to Nigeria. Godfrey Onyema, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, who made an announcement, said he arrived in the country on Sunday night. He also revealed that the Lebanese government and the Lebanese community in Nigeria assisted in the safe evacuation of the affected persons. The announcement comes weeks after the rescue of a Nigerian female victim of trafficking in Lebanon after she was put up for sale on social media platform. Kano State Governor Abdullahi Ganduje has pardoned 300 inmates from correctional facilities in the state. Governor Ganduje, who paid a visit to the Goron Dushe prison facility, said that the gesture is part of the ongoing decongestion exercise to curb the spread of COVID-19. According to him, over the last 2 months, Kano State has released 603 inmates based on the presidential directive. The freed inmates later received 5,000 naira for transportation back to their respective homes. The federal government has fined Jet Aviation Company 1 million naira for disobeying the COVID-19 commercial flight ban rule. In a statement on Sunday, Hadi Sirika, Minister of Aviation, said the fine was the maximum penalty provided for in the country's civil aviation regulations. Sirika explained that the airline was found guilty of violating 2 of Nigeria's civil aviation regulations and that attracted a maximum penalty of 500,000 naira each. He also adds that the breach has been reported to the United Kingdom Civil Aviation Authority, MFA, and the UK High Commission. An aircraft belonging to Jet was seized on May 17 after it was caught operating commercial flights despite a ban imposed by the federal government. Now, with court sitting partially suspended due to the COVID-19 pandemic, judicial proceedings now happen via video conferencing platforms like Zoom, Skype, among others. This latest development has been generating reactions amongst legal experts in the country. We have more in this next report. The decision of Nigeria's Judicial Council to allow virtual court proceedings during the COVID-19 pandemic has created division among legal experts in the country. One of the bones of contention is whether or not Nigeria is prepared for the move.
Well, my reaction is very positive. We had always been discussing about this issue of using technology to actually propel the judicial process in Nigeria, and there were talks here and there. The preparation has been very massive, but we never anticipated that it would come so soon, so sooner than we had anticipated.
Look at it this way. In criminal litigation precisely, you need equipment to be at the correctional centers. Do we have those equipments on ground now? For inmates to be able to adequately converse with the court and the counsel in respect of their matters. Also look at it this way, that do we have the personnel, the right personnel? Do we have the number of personnel? Do we have the equipment, even in courts, to adequately take care of what we are talking about?
Slow internet connection and epileptic power supply are other factors some legal experts say will limit the effectiveness of virtual court proceedings. But Ubani believes these challenges should not be a stumbling block.
We have interconnectivity problem. We have issue of energy, talking about light. We also have issue of some of the laws we need to tinker with. Constitutional. Some people are still arguing that the constitution needs to be amended. But we cannot, because of these shortcomings, fail to begin to deal with these issues. But as we deal with them and those problems begin to occur, we begin to sort them one after the other.
Ajanaku, however, agrees with the NJC's decision to exempt some cases from being heard virtually.
There are some matters that are very, very urgent that will not also require converging. Issue of fundamental human rights applications can be had online, that one can be virtual. But those ones that you have very core matters like armed robbery matters, like stealing, that the person has to be there, the judge will need to view the person, the demeanor and all that, you can reduce it by scheduling, bringing a particular number of people to court on a day. You only allow the defendants and their counsel to be in court and registrars.
The COVID-19 pandemic partially halted judicial activities, delaying hundreds of trials across the country. This new directive by Nigeria's judicial body is expected to erase these backlogs.
With this issue of technology being deployed in hearing cases, I think that we can get witnesses that are not even in Nigeria, give evidence from wherever they are in the world. It's the same with also in criminal administration of justice, where you have policemen who are the IPOs in certain cases, and before you know it, they are transferred to somewhere like in Maiduguri or somewhere outside Lagos. So you can get those policemen or the IPOs to give evidence from wherever they are in criminal trials. So I think that the deployment of technology will solve some of these things that lead to adjournment most of the time will be taken care of, because the witnesses can give evidence from wherever they are. So I think that it's going to have a very good impact, positive impact in dispensation of justice. It's going to quicken the process.
Another concern raised by legal experts is the legality of virtual court sittings. To this effect, the Senate has now introduced a bill proposing an amendment to the Constitution to give legal backing to the new directive. Fidela Aguncha, TV360, Lagos. President Cyril Ramaphosa has announced that a further easing of South Africa's coronavirus lockdown from June 1st, allowing the vast majority of the economy to return to full capacity. Africa's most industrialized economy has been largely shut down since late March, when the government enforced severe restrictions to stem the spread of the novel coronavirus, which has so far infected 22,583 people and killed 429 others. Ramaphosa, who has been under pressure from rival political parties and a variety of industries to ease the restrictions, said following broad consultations, the cabinet had decided to move the country to level 3 of its level 5 lockdown system. Under level 3, Ramaphosa said that aside from a few exceptions where risk of transmission is high, the economy could return to full capacity. A curfew and restriction on outdoor exercises would be lifted, and alcohol could be sold for home consumption. He, however, warned that this would result in a spike in the number of cases, which he said had only been delayed by the measures taken so far. And that's it on our COVID-19 coverage. We'll bring you more stories after this break. Welcome back. And now to security. The Special Anti-Robbery Squad of the Anambra State Police Command have arrested 3 suspects notorious for carjacking in the state. Haruna Mohammed, the police public relations officer, confirmed that they also recovered a bus and a sport utility vehicle, as well as arms and ammunition from the suspect. The suspect allegedly snatched a Toyota Highlander SUV from one Christopher Oracle at gunpoint at the Ekulobia Road in the Agwata local government area of the state. Mohammed said the suspect had confessed to the crime and would be charged as soon as investigations into their activities was concluded. And in Lagos, the State Commissioner for Transportation, Frederick Oladende, has announced a plan to partially close the Marine Beach Bridge Apapa to vehicular movement from Tuesday, May 27th to October 21st. Oladende said that the closure of the Lagos Marine Beach Bridge would be to enable repair of the bridge, which he described as long overdue. He added that the road repair is vital for the safety of the people of Lagos State, especially motorists that ply the bridge to access different parts of the state. The Lagos State government says necessary palliative works have been carried out on all alternative routes around the construction site to put them in good condition to ease movement during the construction period. Still in Lagos State, as part of activities to mark 1 year in office, the state governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu would inaugurate key infrastructural projects in the state, including housing, education, and roads. In a statement on Sunday, Commissioner for Information and Strategy Gbenga Omotosho noted that Sanwo-Olu's administration would be 1 year old on May 29. He added that some of the project would be inaugurated virtually while others would be on site. To inaugurate house project, Sanwo-Olu would visit the newly built 360-unit Lagos homes in Ikorodu and visit Igbogbo, Bayaku Estate, Lekki, and the Courtland Villas on Femi Okunu Estate during the week-long celebration. In the education sector, Sanwo-Olu will conduct virtual inauguration of completed classroom blocks in Maya Secondary School, Ikorodu, Eva Adelaja Junior School, Bariga, and Xavier Primary School, Ifakoijayi, amongst others. Journalist and publisher of Cross River Watch, Agba Jalingo, has opposed the abolition of taxes for low-income earners in Cross River State. Last week, Governor Ben Ayade set up an anti-tax agency composed of religious leaders charged with ensuring taxes are not collected from small business owners in the state. But Jalingo says the abolition of taxes is beyond the power of the governor.
There's a tax law in Cross River State. No governor, no public official anywhere in the world has a right to abolish taxes. Taxation is a law, just like appropriation. If you want to abolish taxes, you either repeal that law or go and amend it. No governor is given the power to sit down and say, I want to abolish taxes. That is like the monarchical and messianic thinking that our governor has assumed in Cross River State. And it is very, very dangerous. So I don't want to blame his aides. I first of all want to blame him for not being in charge of his emotions and not understanding that in public office there are rules and regulations, there's bureaucracy, there are methods that you need to use. See, taxation is not a burden. Taxation is our right. It is part of the gamut of the things that give us access to ask questions in the public field. That is what makes us citizens. And any government that denies us the opportunity of paying our taxes should be resisted. What we can call for is tax rebate. We can call for tax holiday. We can call for reduction in taxes. But if government, for instance, DG, Cross River State makes less than 1 billion naira IGR every month. And we are one of the least 3 states in terms of federal allocation from Abuja. And then a governor wakes up and says he wants to abolish taxes. That is not magnanimity. That is naivety. I think that it is not one of the things that Cross River State needs now.
Still to come is the latest GDP update from the National Bureau of Statistics and more after this break.
On TV360, we don't just ask the questions. What is wrong with amending the Constitution the way the National Assembly members have been doing it? We seek answers.
The Constitution is constituent.
Our problem is not lack of laws. Our problem is lack of the willpower to implement our laws.
Answers that provide clarity.
While we negotiate, we should try to make it a point that the girls must be complete.
The clarity you need to make informed judgment so that you can make the right decision and take action. People are saying it is you politicians that are responsible for this, that you are the reason why this is happening.
All these dollars that call themselves governors in this country.
I wish we had people like Tony at the National Assembly.
God forbid that I go to join that planet.
TV360, providing clarity to issues.
Welcome back. Let's now join Oyin Adekunle for the latest in business news.
Thank you, Fidelia. Nigeria's gross domestic product GDP expanded by 1.87% in the first quarter of 2020. And this is according to the National Bureau of Statistics, NBS. The Bureau, in the report which was released on Monday, said the economy reflected the earliest signs of disruptions caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. It noted that this performance was recorded against the backdrop of significant global disruptions resulting from the COVID-19 public health crisis, a sharp fall in oil prices, and restricted international trade. Quarter-on-quarter, real GDP growth was minus 14.27% compared to 5.59% recorded in the preceding quarter. And President Muhammadu Buhari has challenged Nigerian farmers on the need to embark on massive productive agricultural activities this farming season, as Nigeria has no money for food importation. The president said this shortly after observing this year's Eid prayer alongside members of his family and few presidential aides at the presidential villa Abuja on Sunday. Speaking to State House correspondents, Buhari urged the farmers to go back to farms and produce food in sufficient quantity so Nigeria would not have to import food.
Well, I wish them the best of luck. I hope the rainy season will be bountiful. We'll get a lot of food. I wish the farmers will go and stay in the land so that we can produce what we need sufficient, so that we don't have to import. In any case, we don't have any money to import food, so we must produce what we are going to eat. Well, they can see that COVID-19 has reduced us, when I say us, both the developed and developing countries to the same level. In fact, we have less casualties than they have. So it is a very frightening development, and I advise Nigerians to be very careful to take the advice from the Ministry of Health. The Minister of Health has been doing very well, speaking and educating people generally. So Nigerians, we should be very careful.
Oil prices, which has been driven higher for the past 4 weeks, were steady on Monday, although holidays in Singapore, London and New York dampened trade as raising concerns over demand recovery offset supply cuts. Brent was flat at $35.13 a barrel, while U.S. oil gained 10 cents or 0.3% to close at $33.35 a barrel. Both are down around 45% so far this year. Also fueling concerns about the outlook for demand is rising tension between the United States and China, the world's largest oil consumers, over moves by Beijing to impose security legislation on Hong Kong. Prices are, however, finding support from global supply courts, with the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries and its allies, known as OPEC Plus, now nearing a month into a deal to voluntarily withhold 9.7 million barrels per day of production. And that's it on business. It's back to you now, Fidelia.
Thank you very much, Oyin, for that update. Let's now move to the foreign scene. Burundi's Election Commission has declared the governing party's candidate, Evacuation Ndayishimiye, as the winner of the country's presidential election. The retired army general won 68.72% of the vote, while Agathon Rwasa, the main opposition leader, polled 24.19%. The final election result will be declared by the Constitutional Court on June 4. The May 20 vote, which was contested by 7 presidential hopefuls, is meant to usher in the first democratic transfer of power in 58 years of independence. Ndayishimiye is expected to be sworn in for a 7-year term in late August, when President Pierre Nkurunziza's term ends. And in sports, the federal government, through the Ministry of Youth and Sports Development, has distanced itself from any involvement in the novelty boxing match being promoted by former world cruiserweight champion Bash Ali. The 64-year-old former boxing champion is reportedly seeking to enter the Guinness Book of Records as the oldest boxer to win a world title. The ministry said Ali has been pressuring officials to endorse the fight. It therefore asked the boxer through his lawyers to refrain from such acts that interfered with the activities of the Ministry of Youth and Sports Development. All that, it's on News Now. Many thanks for joining us. Bye for now.